Despite many Division 2 players putting a lot of time into bettering their builds and playstyle, there's one feat that very few of even the most experienced players have attempted to conquer: solo legendary strongholds. This activity has become almost memey due to certain content creators taking advantage of the opportunity to clickbait build videos with it, and in the process demonstrating their ability to just about clear the courtyard on their 50th attempt running a 6 blue PFE build. In this video, I'm going to cover absolutely everything you need to get running solo legendaries with ease, including builds, playstyle, and much more. Whether you want to clear it for bragging rights, to improve yourself as a player, or to just farm when none of your friends are online, hopefully by the end of the video you'll be much more informed on how to clear Legendary District Union Arena on your own. Before we get into the video, if you found any of this information useful, please like, comment and subscribe. I may also be live on Twitch when you're watching this video, so come and hang out and drop a follow. With that said, let's get into it. So before we cover builds and a room by room walkthrough, there are a few basic elements of legendary missions that I want to briefly cover off and define, as they're present in every room in any legendary difficulty activity, and I'll be referring to them throughout the video. Firstly, target prioritization. Target prioritization is what makes the difference between wiping the first area and completing the whole stronghold. It's arguably the most important factor in soloing legendaries. So what do I mean by it? This is simply the order that you prioritize damaging targets in. This will nearly always be an order which starts with the biggest threat to your life and works down to the smallest. Throughout the walkthrough, I'll tell you which targets in each room should be a priority to save you the hassle of working it out yourself. That said, some common sense is required. For example, if an enemy pushes right into your face, they should be the priority no matter what. Similarly, if one of the priority targets is hiding in cover, just kill something else and come back to it when you can hit it. Next up, I'm going to mention triggers a lot throughout the video. All that I mean by trigger is an action that moves the stronghold forward one step. This could be as simple as opening a door, but can also mean killing an enemy to cause a new wave of enemies to spawn. Basically, anything that progresses the mission can be referred to as a trigger. Thirdly, throughout your solo legendary journey, you're going to want to constantly check your radar to see what's going on around you. The legendary AI is pretty smart and will flank you, so just keep an eye on that to make sure you're not caught with your pants down. It's a frustrating way to wipe because you have no one to blame other than yourself. Finally, I'm going to touch briefly on a core Division 2 mechanic which is key to solo legendary: shield peeking. This is a mechanic whereby if the player uses a shield pressed up against cover on their left side, they'll take minimal damage from oncoming gunfire. This will be used in pretty much every area of the mission to cut down on time that you'd otherwise be waiting for your shield to come off cooldown. Of course, if you think this strategy is boring or cheesy, you're more than welcome to stand in the open or cover shoot instead. Now that we've covered off the core mechanics and definitions, let's get into builds. As this video is aimed at clearing your first solo legendary stronghold, I'm only going to present two options. This doesn't mean by any means that these are the only options, but these are widely agreed on by the community as the easiest and most consistent builds available for the task at hand. In legendary difficulty, the phrase "your best defense is your offense" becomes truer than ever. If you don't have the damage to kill things very quickly, they will quickly overwhelm you and cause wipes. This single fact is why 99% of destroy solo legendary tank builds won't hold up in these missions, and it's why both builds I show will be 6 red builds. First build I'm going to show is a new contender on the battlefield, but probably the easiest build to get your first completion in. It's a Striker's Battle Gear assault rifle build. Striker's Battle Gear is a powerful gear set which grants 0.65 weapon damage per weapon hit, up to 100 stacks. It also has 2 and 3 piece bonuses granting 15% weapon handling and 15% rate of fire respectively, making it even more powerful. The way I have this set up is with 4 pieces of Striker's Battle Gear, pristine example chest for the perfect focus talent, and Fox's prayer knee pads for the damaged targets out of cover. The rolls and mods are critical hit chance until you're as close to 60% as possible, then critical hit damage. The next build I'm going to show is the old classic, the one that everyone has likely seen shred its way through many solo legendary strongholds: Negotiator's Dilemma. Negotiator's Dilemma has a unique talent. Critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks total. When you critically hit on a marked enemy, all other marked enemies will take 60% of that shot's damage. This means that it has a DPS-centric multi-target damage element to it, which can be really nice for clearing out rooms quickly. I've set this option up with 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, the pristine example chest piece, and a Seska backpack with Vigilance for extra crit. All rolls and mods are critical hit chance to 60% and critical hit damage. For both builds, my weapons are a FAMAS with fast hands and a classic M1A with Rifleman. The reason I run 2 different weapon types is just because of ammo economy. It's unlikely you'll run out of ammo in most rooms unless you forget to hit an ammo box, but there are a couple of rooms where your ammo will be stretched, and the last thing you want is to wipe a run because you ran out of ammo and 2 weapons of the same ammo type. Both builds will utilise the same skills, turret and shield. Shield is key to survivability, and turret will be used as a decoy-like skill, to pull aggro of adds and skill proxies away from you. Additionally, both builds follow a similar choice of specialisations. I'd personally recommend going for Gunner for armor on kill, ammo regen and increased handling, but if you find your shield going down a lot, you may want to consider Technician for the bonus skill tier, which will give your shield more health. With builds ticked off, let's get into a room by room breakdown of strategies, triggers and target priorities. At the beginning of each section, I'll give each room a name. This way, if you have any questions about specific rooms, we'll immediately know which room that is in the comments. I also want to disclaimer this. I by no means am saying that these are the optimal, fastest strategies to clear the stronghold. These are just, from a lot of experience, what I've found to be the easiest, and they're the ones I used on my first clear. I'm calling the first room Entrance. This is a room you'll likely become familiar with, and maybe your hardest challenge to overcome. Not because it's a difficult room, but instead because it will be your first solo legendary experience. This room consists of 3 waves. One that will be there when you run in, consisting of 3 mini tanks, controllers and small handful of other red/purple bar enemies. And the next wave will come from a chopper once there are 2 enemies from the initial wave left on the battlefield. Mini tanks do not count towards this total. This next wave will consist of a mix of drone operators and rushers. Once that wave and the initial wave are completely clear, the final wave will spawn. This wave consists of 2 chungers and a mix of snipers and red bars. The strategy will be as follows. For the first wave, throw your turret directly into the right hand side of the doorway and run to the spot shown in the video. Pull your shield out and start shooting. Your main priorities here will be mini tanks followed by grenadiers. After those things are all dead, aim to take out any high veterancy enemies. Remember that the trigger is 2 enemies left on the field, so ideally you want those targets to be as squishy as possible so you can kill them before the helicopters come in. Once that wave is clear, the next wave should be coming down the rope. You'll want to push up so that you have sight of both enemy rope landings with your shield out. The first enemy will usually be a rusher and will come down on its own, so if you're comfortable doing so, this is a good opportunity to just kill it. But if not, there's no harm in waiting for it to land before you shoot. This is a pretty straightforward wave, just kill all the enemies as fast as you can. When that wave has died, you'll want to push into the entrance area and scope in to charge focus, ready for the final wave. The strategy here is to kill 1 chunga as he's dropping down, to minimise the number of tanky enemies that are actually able to shoot you. To do this, just shoot in the top half of his backpack as he falls down the rope. You'll hit direct health damage and he should drop. After he's dead, hit the other chunga's chain, kill the adds, and then dump bullets into either his head or chest to crack and kill him. After that, you can hit the ammo box and move to the next area. Well done! You passed your first solo legendary room. You'll be happy to hear that the next few rooms are pretty straightforward, some light relief if you like. I'm going to dub this first room Inside 1. Engaging name, I know. This room consists of 2 parts, an initial wave with healers and medics, then a second wave of 3 chungas and some red bar medics. While scary at face value, this room is actually pretty easy. For the first wave, stand where I'm stood, throw your turret out and get shooting. You may find that your target prioritization becomes whatever's visible here, which is fine, but as a rough guideline you'll want to focus healers, then medics, then everything else. If a healer gets their box down, everything will become much harder and slower to kill, so prevention is the best tactic. Once the first wave is dead, stay put and wait for the second wave to come to you. The second wave will consist of 3 chungas and some red and purple bars. Your first priority here is to break backpacks of and put as much damage as possible into the chungas. Once their backpacks are down, they're not actually a huge threat, so you can kill any adds which may be pushing then. If you're comfortable that you can kill them before they get close to you, feel free to do so, as I do, and skip backpacks altogether. Once the adds are dead, similar to the first area, just pick a chunga armor plate to focus, chest or head, and dump your mag into it. They should die pretty quickly. Now that Inside 1 is clear, you're going to run to the end, hit the ammo box, and get ready for, wait for it, Inside 2. This is another 2-phase room, the second half of which will likely be your first speed bump in your journey. For the first half, you'll have a mix of rushers, snipers, and normal adds. Throw a turret, stand where I'm stood, and prioritise in the following order. 1. Rushers. Be careful, these can push around your left-hand side, so beware. 2. Snipers. These will one-shot your shield and kill you in 0.1 seconds if they land their shots. And 3. Everything else. Once you've killed the first wave, stay at the back of the map, wipe the sweat off your brow and get ready to test your might. The next wave can be tough. The trigger for the second wave, which is largely comprised of everything that sucks about legendary missions, drones and grenades, is player positioning. Specifically, when the player passes this line. As such, you'll want to be throwing your turret as you pass the line to give yourself an opportunity to back up before you're shredded. Once you've backed up, you just need to focus the ads. Priorities here will be drones, then grenadiers, then everything else. You'll often get pushed here, so be monitoring that radar and ready to kill anything that moves up to you. If you've passed this room successfully, you're more than capable of clearing the rest of the stronghold. It doesn't get much more hectic than that. Now that you've done inside 2, you're going to push up the staircase and stay at the top for the next room, creatively dubbed Dogs. Put your turret down if you want to, and focus the dogs. This is straightforward to do, and you'll want to prioritize purple first, then yellow, as the purple's grenades will one-shot your shield and do a shit ton of damage to you. Just bullet dump these dogs and you'll be done in no time. So we're now moving on to inside 3. Are you starting to feel like a solo legendary player yet? At this point, you should roughly understand the more simple ad rooms, so I won't go into too much detail about strategy here, but stand where I am, focusing the yellow mini-tank first, then drone operators, then the yellow controller. The second wave will spawn when one ad is left on the battlefield, and it will consist of 2 purple dogs, 1 sniper, and 1 minigun. If possible, focus the sniper dog first as it will EMP the other, but this isn't really necessary and both dogs should die quickly regardless. Once all ads and dogs are dead, the final wave will spawn. The final wave is a pretty easy one, as they'll all be funneling on the left hand side. Beware of ads mounting the second floor on the right hand side, because they'll be able to hit your shield, and just focus these in the order they come out. Once only one ad is left, you can push up if they're hiding to save on time waiting for them to come out. When all ads are dead, push onwards. The next room will consist of 1 chunga and 4 rushers, triggered by the player crossing this line. I'd advise that upon crossing the line, you just jump over for line of sight of where the rushers spawn. You can comfortably take 2 or 3 of them out here, before waiting for the others to push around through this doorway. Once they've pushed around, kill them quickly, then break the chunga's chain before smashing him with all you've got. See? Easy. Remember to hit the ammo crate whilst you're here, then get running to the next area. It's also worth noting that you can skip the running portion by fast travelling to the mission after you press the door button, if that interests you. The next room, unfortunately, is another tough one. This room consists of 3 waves, an initial wave with healers and medics, a second wave with rushers and grenadiers, then a third wave with more grenadiers and a single chunga. As I said, this room can get rough, so don't be scared to back up if you need to. I do in this run. For the first wave, you'll be wanting to prioritise healers, then medics. Again, if that box goes down, it will become really tough really quickly, so you want to get them dead before it can go down. Once those are dead, let's eliminate any chance that they can be revived and get a box down again, by killing the medics. Once 2 ads are left, the next wave will spawn. The next wave consists of grenadiers with 1 rusher. Dispatch of the rusher, then focus whatever's closest, prioritising grenadiers if possible. Once 2 ads are left, the next wave will spawn. This wave is similar, consisting of 2 rushers, some grenadiers and a chunga. The idea is the same as previous waves, but with the added difficulty of the chunga. My advice would be to hit the chunga's chain, then keep killing ads. When he gets up, hit the chain again and repeat. Once all ads are dead, just fire into the chunga and you should shred him. So now you've passed some of the toughest rooms in the mission. You're 100% capable of completing the whole stronghold at this point if you maintain focus and keep grinding. The next room seems scary, but it's actually really similar to the first room. There are 2 waves. The first has some snipers and rushers, and the second has 3 chungas with 3 healers. For the first wave, you'll put down a turret and then immediately focus rushers. Kill anything that pushes towards you as a priority, then focus the snipers. Chungas will spawn here when there are 3 ads left on the field. Be ready. For the chungas, you can either focus their backpacks then armor, or just go straight for armor. In between, try to put some bullets into the healers. If you can prevent a box going down, it's a bonus, but it's not as important in this room as it was in previous rooms because there aren't any subsequent waves. Once the chungas and ads are dead, push to the next door as quickly as possible. Your striker stacks are going to be important here. You're now on to the final inside room of the mission. Well done. This room isn't that hard, but can go wrong quickly with the wrong prioritization. Initial priority should always be the yellow healer if he's visible, because that box can be a nightmare. If he's not visible, don't worry for now, but he should still be your priority when he becomes visible. Once he's dead, try to kill the red healer, then move on to the yellow grenadier. Realistically, the yellow grenadier is the only enemy who'll be able to properly kill you even if you play perfectly, so he's important to take out. Once grenadiers and healers are dead, just take your time to kill the rest. There's no rush, and you can also back up if you feel the need to. Fresh air. You've made it outside. Hit the ammo box and gear up for them all. Although this is actually a pretty straightforward room, despite being intimidatingly big. There are 3 spawns here, initial, chungas and dogs. The trigger for each wave is 2 or less adds being left on the battlefield. Again, mini-tanks aren't counted in this. In the Chunga wave, there will be a bunch of rushes, but as they will be spawning a mile away from you, they should pose very little threat. You'll just be camping the doorway I am in the video, and there aren't really any priorities for the first couple of waves. Just shoot whatever's visible. You may want to take out grenadiers if they get a line of sight, but it's not necessary as good player positioning and movement can counter them. When the dogs spawn, focus the yellow grenadier first. This is the only one that poses a real threat. If you can't get a line of sight, it probably doesn't have one on you, so don't worry about it, just kill everything else. Once you've killed the final dog, pick up your turret and move on. Don't forget to hit the ammo box on your way through. So we're on to the first garage, the calm before the storm. This is a single wave consisting of some rushers, some grenadiers and some normal adds. It's another kill whatever's visible type room, but if possible you want to prioritise rushers, then grenadiers, then everything else. This shouldn't be a rough room after everything else you've done, but I still wouldn't relax too much. Once you're clear, run through to the next room, pick up ammo and get ready to sweat. You're now on to what I personally believe to be the hardest room in the mission, mostly due to a lack of good cover, many angles to be shot from and some really terrible ad compositions. The first wave will consist of 2 mini-tanks, 2 controllers, a bunch of drone ladies and some standard adds. Your priorities here will be mini-tanks, then drones, then anything else, but be cautious about what's shooting you. If something has a clear line of sight, kill it. When 2 adds from the first wave are left on the field, the next wave will spawn from the left side of the map. This wave has 2 rushes in, so be ready to kill them. They'll nearly always push up on your left hand side. It also has a bunch of healers in, so they should be your next priority. Hopefully you understand by this point, but those boxes will make things 10 times harder as they did in this run. When 2 adds from the left wave are left on the field, the final wave will spawn from the right hand side door. This wave will consist of nearly entirely grenadiers. It's hard to advise on priorities here as it depends on what's left and where they are, but I can tell you for sure that these grenadiers are a nuisance, so you'll want to dispatch them as quickly as possible. In this run I actually had some trouble with them myself because I didn't kill one of them quick enough. If you have a line on sight on grenades and aren't in immediate danger from other enemies, I'd kill them. Once you finish this room, give yourself a big pat on the back. That's by far the hardest room done and dusted. You got this. Before we can kill the boss, there's one final room to clear. This can be dubbed decontamination. It's a 3-wave room, but really no wave poses a massive threat. The first wave is 3 yellow dogs, which strikers should make quick work of. Try to focus the sniper dog first as it will EMP the others, but don't worry too much if you can't. Once all dogs are dead, the next wave will spawn from the left side of the map. The next wave has a few rushes and just general adds, nothing of particular note. Just shred it down, but keep in mind that when 1 add is left, the final door will spawn, which is a bit more threatening. The final wave consists of 2 chungas and a single red bar. I'd personally recommend trying to clear all adds on the field, then focusing the chungas. If you prioritise the chungas too heavily here, you can end up with adds getting weird angles on you, so it's best to just get them gone. You can stun the chungas by hitting their chain if you need to. Once the adds are dead, shred the chungas and you've done it. You're onto the boss fight. Legendary missions only have 1 checkpoint, and you're now there. If you die from this point onwards, you'll spawn back at the boss, so you can take a deep sigh of relief. That said, you shouldn't die here too many times as it's not too difficult. On entry, definitely make sure to hit the ammo box as ammo will be tight here. There are 4 waves, with the 4th containing the boss. The initial wave has 2 key threats, snipers and grenadiers, which you should prioritise. Alongside target prioritization, there's 1 key objective to focus on here. You want to try to reach the back of the map before the next wave spawns. Thankfully, the next wave only spawns when the entire initial wave is dead, so this shouldn't be too hard to pull off. Once you've focused the grenadier and snipers, head to the back, clean any other stragglers up and get ready. The second wave will consist of 4 adds dropping into the middle on ropes and a bunch of adds jumping down from the now right hand side of the map. You don't need to instantly kill all of the rope adds, but there are 2 which you should try to prioritise, the purple and yellow drone adds. Once they're dead, keep checking your radar for rushes and just kill stuff as it runs at you. When that whole wave is clear, the next will spawn. This wave consists of healers and medics which need to die pretty quickly, but thankfully there's an ammo box next to them which you can shoot for some CC. Take the line of sight I did and try to dispatch the wave as quickly as possible. When 2 adds are left, the boss will spawn, so try to make sure that these adds aren't high threat enemies, i.e. kind of yellow bar medics or yellow bar healers. When you see the boss's health bar appear on screen, he'll be dropping down at the centre of the map. He drops with 3 adds, only one of which is a real threat, the purple healer. Kill that guy quickly, then try to clear out the rest of the battlefield while out of the boss's sight. He'll really hurt if he lands shots on you. And keep checking your radar here as some stuff can sneak up on you, like it did to me. Once the adds are dead, shoot out the boss's chain, then dump bullets into his backpack. Rinse and repeat this while staying out of his direct line of sight as many times as you need to destroy his backpack. Once his backpack is down, shoot him in the head to deplete his armor and health, and you're done. So that covers off the strategies and builds used in solo legendary DUA. There's one additional thing that I want to cover off before you go and give it a try, which is the most important part. Do not, under any circumstances, be afraid of failure. Solo legendary isn't, and probably never will be, easy. It's the pinnacle of endgame in Division 2, and as such you will encounter frustration and problems as you learn. Just trust me when I say that if you stick with it and power through frustration, you will eventually clear it. I strongly believe that anyone's capable of this feat if they put their mind to it. And once you've cleared it once, you can do it over and over, as there's no RNG in legendary strongholds. You're always killing identical rooms of identical enemies. Also, if there's one obvious problem you don't know how to overcome, feel free to leave it in the comments and I can give you more specific advice. Hopefully this video helped you, and I hope you enjoyed. If you learned something, please consider subscribing to the channel to keep up to date, and follow me on Twitch if you want to catch legendary speedruns, raids and more live. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your runs.